All right, what's going on, guys? SteelTwins coming back at you with Week 17 picks.
Second to last week of the regular season already. Playoff time's coming around. Stuff's getting tight. Teams is trying to clinch, playoff spots, playoff rankings. These last couple weeks are going to be interesting. We got a special guest joining us for the weeks this week, man. Shout out to PaperPortal from the Discord. How are you, man?
I'm doing good.
That's awesome to hear, man. We got Thursday Night Football, which I guess you could say will be the last NFL game for the year 2022. We have Dallas Cowboys at Tennessee Titans. What's your pick on this?
Yeah, so really rough season for the Titans that they lost to Tannehill because Malik Willis, he's just not ready, and I feel bad for him because I think that they're going to judge him a lot because he's a third-round pick, and third-round picks don't normally get a ton of shelf life if they're not performing. But I think the Cowboys are going to win this game pretty easily. I'm going to say 23-13.
Agreed. I got to go Dallas here. Tennessee's, I don't want to say they're falling apart, but they're definitely having a very rough year. They're going to have to get a quarterback at some point because I agree. Willis isn't ready. I don't think he'll be ready next year. So they're going to have to get a new quarterback at some point. They're going to have to run on the legs of Derrick Henry, but he can only do so much himself. So give me Dallas as well.
Yeah, for sure. Tennessee, there's no doubt they're a fighting team. Mike Vrabel, no matter who's hurt or who's in there, Tennessee will always give it their all no matter who their opponent is. But Dallas is coming off a big win against Philadelphia in a great game last Christmas Eve. Dallas is just on a hot streak. They've clinched a playoff spot, but they're going to want to keep going. They're going to want to continue to get wins, obviously, and I think that's what's going to happen on the road here. Give me Dallas.
Next game, to open 2023, man, we have the Arizona Cardinals at the Atlanta Falcons. Trace McSorley, I believe, will still be getting the start here. So what's your prediction?
This is just a terrible game. I'm going to take Falcons 9-6.
Yeah, this is going to suck. This game's absolutely going to be rough, man. Different year, same stuff when it comes to these teams. Let's be honest. Atlanta, I suppose. Let me go to Atlanta.
Yeah, this game could go either way, but not in a good way. And, again, when it comes to these type of matchups, when I can't decide, I just go with the home team. And quite honestly, I just think Atlanta's, the better fighting team, the overall more positive team, I suppose, at least in the current stand right now for both teams since Arizona's full of injuries. Murray's out. Ritter's still learning. He's had some moments in the past 2 weeks starting, but I think Atlanta can get this one.
Next game, Chicago at Detroit, NFC North battle. This should be interesting. What's your prediction here?
Yeah, the Lions last week, they just got totally dismantled, and they needed that to make the playoffs. I don't know where their standing are in the playoffs, but it's not looking good for them. And then the Bears don't have their second-round pick, so thank you to Chicago. I think the Lions are going to win this. I'm going to say 34-23.
Yeah, all we got to do is continue to hope that Chicago keeps losing so we get the earliest pick possible, because with the Steelers' resurgence and wins these past couple weeks, we're not going to have as much of an earlier pick as we all anticipated and kind of want. So hopefully Chicago keeps losing. I think they do. Give me Detroit. I don't know what happened last week either. It's kind of crushing for them because, man, I do want to see them make the playoffs. And they got to keep winning to keep their hope alive. And they're going to need a lot of help as well. But give me Detroit.
Yeah, Detroit's a real fun team to watch. They're an energizing team. They're a tough team. Dan Kimball is really turning Detroit into a fun team to watch. And if they were to make the postseason, that'd make it even a little bit better, in my honest opinion, just based off what Detroit's been through the past few years and how they're playing this year. A few decades, honestly. Let's put it that way. Give me Detroit here. I think Chicago and Justin Fields could definitely give it their all in this one, but I think at the end of the day, the home team's going to win. That's Detroit.
I think the same thing's going to happen here, man. We have the Denver Broncos at the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, shout out to the Broncos for finally firing Nathaniel Hackett. It didn't take long for his run in Denver to be over. What a massive disappointment. What a massive bust. And, they're facing Kansas City in December football in Arrowhead. Oh, technically January football. What's your prediction here?
The Broncos just got destroyed last week. I think this is going to be ugly again. I'm going to take the Chiefs 42-23.
Yeah, this is going to be bad. This is going to be really bad. I know last time these two teams fought, Denver damn near made the comeback and put on the best game of the season, but I was still in a losing effort. This time around, it's going to be ugly. Kansas City.
Yeah, without a doubt. Denver, good job, making the first right move, hopefully, for your future.
But this is also a team that just let Baker Mayfield school him and let someone like Cam Akers, who's done nothing all year, score 3 touchdowns.
Yeah. And Mahomes, although he threw a handful of interceptions in the second half, he still had a great game against Denver the first time. I think it happens again. And I think he's the front runner for MVP, considering, he's on pace to, I think, break Peyton Manning's passing yards record.
Right.
If I'm not mistaken. Yep. So, give me Kansas City.
That's impressive. Next game should be interesting. We have the Miami Dolphins at the New England Patriots in an AFC East battle. This should be a good one. What's your prediction?
Yes, well, Tua, I don't think is going to play this game because of his concussion. So it's looking like it's Teddy Bridgewater versus Mac Jones, and we need the Dolphins to lose this game. They've got a good offense, but it's really sputtered the past few weeks. But then the Patriots, they've just been pretty bad as well. I want the Dolphins to lose, obviously, but I think the Dolphins are going to win this one 20-17.
Agreed. I got to go Miami. I just don't like New England here. Miami's just got too many offensive weapons to get the job done. Yeah. When Teddy came in the first time Tua went out earlier this year, obviously he did solid, but it didn't result in a lot of dubs. I think Miami gets a dub here, so let me take Miami.
I see why you guys say that, and I don't entirely disagree, but the past 4 games, the past month, honestly, Miami's been extremely off. Based off how they were, the first half of the season. They looked promising. They looked good. They were a fun team to watch. The past 4 games, they've lost every single one. And Miami is not looking good. New England, they've lost a handful of games, one to the Raiders, and just last week in a heartbreak to Cincinnati after Stevenson, I think he fumbled the ball. And this is in New England. New England, I think they're still in the hunt. I don't know if they make it, though, but, they're definitely going to want to crush Miami's hopes and dreams. And the fact that Tua's not in there, and I think Tua's obviously the better quarterback than Teddy Bridgewater. I think the offense runs better when Tua's in there. I think New England can pull off the win here. At home, I really do.
Well, either way I see it. When it comes to a Steelers factor, either way they go, we're kind of trapped because these two both have the win over us nonetheless. But obviously a Miami loss would do better here. But next game, we have the Indianapolis Colts at the New York Giants. God, this looks like a mess. What's your prediction?
So I think if the Giants make the playoffs, I fully believe Brian DeBoer should win Coach of the Year. He's just done an absolute amazing job with them because they don't have a ton of talent on offense outside of Saquon. And I think they're going to win this game. I think they're going to win 24-19.
I agree with your prediction. I agree with DeBoer being Coach of the Year if they make the playoffs. Just seeing what he did to Daniel Jones alone is incredible.
Yeah.
I'm going to go New York here. I don't like Indianapolis. I don't like Jeff Saturday. Right now, he's just an interim guy. There's not going to be much future there, so New York definitely at home.
Yeah, and the fact that Matt Ryan got benched again for second time this year for Nick Foles this time around. Nick Foles will be starting in this game. I don't think that's really going to bode well for Indianapolis. That's not really going to change anything. They're still a disaster. They still got a lot to fix for sure. New York, they've suffered a handful of losses recently, but, they're definitely going to want to bounce back and try to fight for that playoff spot there, and I think New York can get it. And Brian DeBoer, he's definitely turned the page there for New York in a good way. Give me the Giants.
Next game, we have the New Orleans Saints, who actually just beat the Browns last week, so they got a little momentum here. They faced the Eagles, who just put on possibly game of the year, and they might be getting Hurts back. So what's your prediction?
Yeah, I think the Eagles are going to win this game with Hurts back, and then they can sit Hurts for the next 2 weeks because he's still dealing with an injury. I think the Eagles are going to win 30-13.
Yeah, this is, I don't want to say a blowout. Maybe Saints do something, but Saints also ain't a good team this year. Philly at home, they're trying to clinch that number 1 seed because I don't think they have yet. Give me Philly.
Yeah, for sure. New Orleans, they're a fighting team at times, but against Philadelphia. And
Philly's too good.
Philly's too good, and after a crushing loss to Dallas and the way that they did with Miles Sanders fumbling the ball, giving pretty much the win away to Dallas essentially, they're going to want to get a bounce-back win at home, so give me Philly.
Next game, we have what could potentially be battle for first place in the NFC South and possibly a playoff spot. We have the Carolina Panthers at the Tampa Bay Bucks. What's your prediction?
It's just embarrassing that one of these two teams is going to make the playoffs, but I think the Panthers have actually been a pretty fun team these past few weeks. Sam Darnold, he hasn't turned the ball over. They've ran for a lot of yards, and they don't have a lot of talent, but they're finding ways to win, and I think they're going to win this game. I'm going to take them 23-20.
Yeah, this is going to be a tight one, man. I also have a hard time picking this one just because I want to take Carolina in the upset, if you want to call it one. But around this time of year, around these scenarios, even though he's 45 years old and he definitely should have just stayed retired, it's hard to doubt Tom Brady in this type of environment, in this type of game, especially at home.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Tampa Bay just based on that, but I think Carolina making it as embarrassing as it would be, like you said, it would be kind of entertaining. It would be an inevitable loss if they do make the playoffs, but it mix it up a bit. But I'm going Tampa Bay.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, around this time, you really can't count out Tom Brady, even at his age and the type of season he's had. Carolina, though, I mean, props to them. They're doing solid. Their running game is still pretty good. Sam Darnold, he's been more safe, I guess I can say, but Tampa Bay's defense, they've definitely had a lackluster year. But when it comes to Sam Darnold in these type of games, he tends to choke. He tends to feel the pressure.
It seems like he's due for a Sam Darnold game.
And I think it will be this one in Tampa Bay. So I got to go with the Bucs here.
Next game, we have the Cleveland Browns at the Washington Commanders. Who's going to start for the Commanders? Is it going to be Heineke or is it going to be Wentz? I don't think it matters. What's your prediction?
Yeah, just how ironic it is that the Browns trade 3 first-round picks for their supposed franchise QB and are eliminated from the playoffs with 2 weeks left to play. I mean, Deshaun Watson, he's been terrible. He's just not been able to do anything well, and I think the Commanders are a really scrappy team, and I think they're going to pull this one out 27-17.
Yeah, this is another one that was tough for me to pick just because, most of these games I'm torn with because it could go either way. That's how rough these teams are, honestly, at this stage of the season. Watson sucks. There's no doubt about that. Honestly, Cleveland would have been better just sticking with Baker, seeing what he's doing. I know a change of scenery does wonders for a lot of people, and for Baker, it's doing something decent. Obviously, that's not the same for Watson. Something's off. He's having one of the worst downgrades I've ever seen from a quarterback. For this game, though, I'm going to go Cleveland. I think the run game will keep him in against Washington's defense. It's still pretty mediocre. I know Washington should have Chase Young back and guys like that, but I'm going to go Cleveland, but I wouldn't be surprised if Washington definitely gets one here.
Yeah, but despite who's going to start for the Commanders, it could be either one. I still think the Commanders are going to win. I can't really trust Cleveland to win a game in this type of moment right here, even against Wentz or Heineke. Their defense is absolutely terrible. Watson's been pretty disappointing. I mean, it comes to no surprise to some people. I mean, he wasn't playing football for a year, and he was suspended for the majority of the season based off his actions. But I gotta go Commanders here, considering that they're still in the playoff hunt, and the type of coach that Ron Rivera is, and the type of fighting team that they have. I definitely feel like Washington's going to want it more, and I think they can win this game.
Yeah, next game we have the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Houston Texans. This should be a pretty grippy one. What's your prediction?
Yeah, the Jags, this game doesn't, whether they win or lose, next week will be the determining factor for who wins the AFC South between them and the Colts or the Titans. But Trevor Lawrence, he's been absolutely insane this year. It's one of the biggest jumps we've seen from QB since Mahomes. Last year he was really, really bad. And now he's carrying this team. He's got a lot of weapons, and Doug Peterson has just done an amazing job with them. And I think they're going to win this game really easily. I'm going to take them 30-13.
Yeah, I'm going to go Jacksonville as well. I'm loving their journey. I couldn't agree more with what you said about Pearson and Lawrence. It's very well seen. I think Jacksonville takes that division. I would love to see it. I think that spices up the playoffs a little bit. I think Jacksonville deserves it, and I think that really goes to show how improved Trevor Lawrence is. If there was an award for most improved player, kind of like how the NBA does it, I'd probably give it to either Justin Fields or Trevor Lawrence. Those guys are really doing good, but Lawrence especially with the targets he has and who Jacksonville overpaid for, but they're really getting return their investment with some, with how they're just balling on offense, which is really fun to see. Give me Jacksonville. I agree.
Yeah, Houston, they got their second win. They got a good win against Tennessee, but that was Tennessee's a declining team, and Malik Willis is a raw quarterback at the moment, being a rookie and all. They got Jacksonville now. They're hosting Jacksonville. And Jacksonville, my God, the growth is shown every week, and they're getting wins because of it. You know, you mentioned the targets, Dan, that they overpaid. I mean, Christian Kirk's been very good this year. Zay Jones, you know, he has his moments year after year. Even Evan Ingram, you know, he's actually been more consistent the past couple of weeks, and that defense has stepped up big time. Jacksonville is looking really, really solid, and I have to agree. I think they take that division and make the postseason. Give me Jacksonville.
Next game, we have San Francisco at the Las Vegas Raiders. What's your prediction?
Yeah, Kyle Shanahan is just continuing to show that it does not matter who's at QB. They're going to perform. And, I mean, Brock Purdy's been good, but, I mean, he just has one of the best situations for a QB I've ever seen. And, you know, the CMC trade, I think that was a great trade for the 49ers. I don't think that they're 11-4 right now without him. And even though they gave up a decent amount for him, if they end up winning the Super Bowl, it's definitely worth it. And I think they'll take this game 26-21.
Yeah, especially with how Vegas just struggles on offense the past couple weeks. Like, they obviously have the players, they have the guys, they have the splashiness. But I don't know if it's Carr, I don't know if it's McDaniels, I don't know what it is. But in certain games, kind of like last week, in big games and big moments, they just can't pull it off.
They collapse.
And against San Francisco's defense, I think they're very stellar. I think they're proven. I think they're in the top rankings for best defenses in the league. So, yeah, San Francisco is going to win this one on the road.
Yeah, Brock Purdy just continues to be a solid filling guy for them. Since Garoppolo got hurt, he's been real good. George Kittle's definitely, you know, showcasing why he's one of the best tight ends in the league week by week. Deebo Samuel has his moments. Christian McCaffrey has been great since filling in. They've only lost one game since McCaffrey put on the Niners uniform, and that was the first game he played.
Yep.
Since then, they've been undefeated. They've been on a hell of a winning streak, and I think that continues. San Francisco is looking like a stellar football team right now. They have been, and I think that continues. Give me the Niners.
They're just a well-oiled machine, man. Their coaching staff is great. Next game, we have the New York Jets at the Seattle Seahawks. Mike White is officially the number 1 quarterback. Zach Wilson is officially inactive. So there you have it for the Jets. What's your prediction on this one?
Yeah, the Seahawks a few weeks ago, it felt like they were playoff locks, but they've kind of sputtered out of control. And Geno Smith, he's taken a little bit of a step down, but he's still been a really good QB, and it's a really cool story. And I mean, he's the runaway comeback player of the year. He's just been exceptional, and Mike White's good as well. But I think the Seahawks they need this win, and I think they're gonna win this one 27-25.
Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna go Seattle. I just like their positioning better. I like their coaching better, and I think Geno against his former team is going to have a little chip on his shoulder. Give me Seattle on this one.
Yeah, without a doubt. Considering the Jets, man, like that whole quarterback controversy and Zach Wilson's performance this season, like that's definitely starting to take a toll on the Jets. Like earlier in the season, they were looking real solid, real good, and I still think their defense is great. Don't get me wrong. They got a great young defense that, in my opinion, is only going to get better. And I think their head coach is the right man to go with. It's just the quarterback that's the problem, and because of what's going on, I think that's taking a toll on the players and their performance on the team, and it's really causing them to lose these games recently. Seattle, they've definitely, you know, fallen off their hype train a little bit, but they definitely need to get back on. I think they're going to try to get back on, and the Jets, especially, you mentioned it, Geno Smith's former team, I think that's the right game and right team to do it on, so give me Seattle.
Next game, we have possibly what should be game of the week here. This is the most must-see matchup all weekend here. Minnesota at Green Bay. This should be very good. What's your prediction?
Yeah, I'm surprised this wasn't the one that was moved to Sunday Night Football, but I can't complain. But, I mean, the Vikings, they've been a great team this year, a big step up from last year. Now that they have Kevin O'Connell and the Packers, I think if they lose, they're probably eliminated from the playoffs, so they need to pretty much win out to do it. And the Vikings, they beat the Packers earlier in the year, but now that the Packers are at home, it's in Lambeau Field in the cold. You know, the Vikings, although they are technically a cold weather team, they're not used to playing in the cold because they play in a dome stadium. I think the Packers are going to win this one 24-16.
Agreed. I'm going to go Green Bay just because I don't see Minnesota sweeping Green Bay this year. And for all the factors you said exactly is why I'm going with Green Bay as well. Green Bay, I think A-Rod's going to have a chip on his shoulder. I think Watson has another good game for Green Bay.
If he plays, because he did get hurt.
Right.
I don't think it's anything serious, though.
But, yeah, Green Bay at home in this type of environment, very similar to Tom Brady. It's hard to bet against A-Rod, even though they're clearly washed now. Yeah. But give me Green Bay.
Yeah, I mean, there comes a time where Minnesota's going to pull a Minnesota, right? It's going to happen. I think all of us can definitely anticipate it. And this could very well be the start of it. Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers around this time, that's usually when A-Rod steps up. That's usually when the team steps up, especially right now where they're still in the playoff hunt somehow, some way. I don't think any of us ever imagined that based off how they were playing and the offense was in general. But Green Bay's still in it, and, they're going to want it for sure, especially after extending Aaron Rodgers. So I think Green Bay can definitely pull it off.
Next game, we have Los Angeles at Los Angeles. We have the Rams with the Chargers. Who wins this one?
Yeah, so Baker Mayfield last week, he was really good. He's just taken a complete step up now. He's with Sean McVay, and it's a cool story. And the Chargers, obviously, the Steelers, we also need them to lose out. And so as much as I want them to lose, just like the Dolphins, I think that the Chargers are going to win this one 24-23 off like a game-winning field goal.
Yeah, it's hard for me to pick any of these teams, to be real with you. I still don't trust Los Angeles because they're just hurt and they have one of the worst Super Bowl hangovers I've ever seen. But I can't really pick the Chargers because they're the Chargers. But I really like Justin Herbert, and he is truly a great quarterback. And at home, he's still got his guys around him. Give me Los Angeles. The Chargers specifically, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah, Los Angeles versus Los Angeles. We know what's going on with the Rams, what has been going on with the Rams. A big disappointment.
Let me just say this. The Broncos got to be one sad team to lose to this Rams team.
Yeah?
My goodness. And in that
and
fashion,
by like 40.
It was bad.
That's why Hackett got fired. Jesus Christ. If the other games weren't enough, that sure as hell was. But I don't think the Chargers will have that same effect. I don't. They're obviously a much better team. I believe if they win this game, they will clinch a playoff berth. And they're healthy. They've been getting going on the field. They've been getting points. Defense has definitely stepped up. I think the Chargers for sure can get this one.
Next game, Sunday Night Football. Like you said, man, this game was flexed. I'm still trying to figure out a reason why, but Steelers-Ravens in primetime, you can't really complain. What's your prediction?
Yeah, so we don't really know who's going to start for the Ravens, but I tend to believe that Lamar will, because if the Ravens lose and the Bengals win the division. But as long as the Ravens win, I believe the Week 18 game would be for the division. Mm-hmm. So I tend to think Lamar is going to play this game. And obviously Lamar is a huge step up from Huntley and, unfortunately, Anthony Brown. But we've had his number. I think he's had 4 touchdowns and like 8 turnovers against us, and he's just really struggled. And I don't think we're getting swept by the Ravens. It just doesn't feel like something we're going to do. No. So I think we're going to win this game, but it's going to be a really, really ugly game, 17-13.
Agreed. I'm going Steelers just because, like you said, I don't see us getting swept by Baltimore. Baltimore's not that good of a team to sweep us this year. I do think Lamar's back. Before the recording, I was thinking, what's Lamar coming back for? Then I realized, well, they're fighting for home field advantage. They're fighting for the division. They're not too far behind the Bengals. And I could very well see, since we don't have a primetime game next week for any team, depending on how this game goes, depending on how the Monday night game goes, we could very well see Baltimore and Cincinnati to close out the regular season next week. So yeah. I think that's how it goes. Give me Pittsburgh. I think we come to play. I hope we run the rock, and I think Kenny's going to really have a nice game. This could be the first Kenny versus Lamar game. So that alone should be exciting.
Yeah, number 8 versus number 8. That's something that, we could all definitely get used to for the future when it comes to Pittsburgh and Baltimore, to which, Portal said it. It's kind of hard to see Baltimore, sweep the Steelers. You know what I mean? The Steelers have been, very bad this year. They've been a very off team this year. But Baltimore, when it comes to Steelers and Ravens, it could go either way. Right. And Baltimore this year, especially around this time in recent years, they tend to choke. They tend to be a letdown team.
That's hardball for you.
Although they've clinched a playoff berth, they're still not a promising team. The amount of games that they've blown and the leads that they've blown, and around this time where they have a tendency of choking these games or losing these games, I can see it happening again. I really could. So give me Pittsburgh in a difficult matchup here for sure.
Yeah, it should be a good one nonetheless, man. It's Ravens Steelers. Can't miss it. Monday night, it's another game you can't miss. This should be another great one. Buffalo at Cincinnati. These are 2 very good young teams, man. What's your prediction?
Yeah, this is going to be absolute must-see TV. This is going to be a great game, and it could be a potential playoff matchup in the future this year. The Bills, they've been really good. Josh Allen, everyone knows he's great, and the Bengals, they've been pretty good as well with Burrow and co. Is a really hard game to pick because I could see either team win this, and I think it's going to come down to a field goal or a last-second touchdown. But I'm going to take the Bengals here because they're home. I'm going to take them 24-21.
Yeah, this one was just tough. This very well, like you said, could be a future playoff matchup.
I mean, it could have been the AFC Championship game last year if Josh Allen just called tails.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Nonetheless, this is going to be a great game. This is a perfect game to open up Monday Night Football. I suppose close out Monday Night Football, technically. This might be the last Monday night game of the year, so go out with a bang. I'm going to go Buffalo. I like Buffalo more. Cincinnati's really on a roll. They've been on the roll for the last number of weeks. They're really getting back to that playoff caliber team, kind of erasing the last year was a fluke type of talk that everyone was having. He's like, hey, we're still here. We're still here to, show that we're a young team. We're going to be here for a couple years, which is why this game's tough for me to pick. But I'm just going to go Buffalo. I just like Buffalo more. I don't know if the number 1 seed has been clinched yet, and I'm assuming Josh Allen's going to be hungry for it. So give me Buffalo just based on that factor.
This game's, the perfect game to go out with a bang for Monday Night Football. Definitely a playoff future matchup potentially. And Buffalo's obviously a great team this year. Cincinnati, they've been fantastic. Even when they had guys that were out, they've been really, really good. This has all the makings to be a shootout, but I think I'm going to have to give the edge to Buffalo on this one. I really do. The number 1 seed still ain't clinched. Buffalo's definitely the runner-up right there. They're going to want it, especially on the road. Give me Buffalo.
It's going to be a tough matchup, but it should be a great game. Otherwise, that is the Week 17 picks, man. Huge thank you to PaperPortal from the Discord chat for joining us, for his time, his patience, and his picks. Always great to have you on, man. And enjoy football this week, man. And have yourself a blessed, happy New Year.
You too.
Appreciate it, man. Otherwise, Rob, sign us out.
And like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you later.
Peace!